Aloha, everyone, and welcome to part two of this True the Stars 5-day challenge. I had to jump off. Long story about what has happened with me today, but I'm back on to finish up part two of the first day of this 5-day challenge. I'm going to welcome all of the participants. Go ahead and join me here. Okay, awesome. Hi, ladies. Welcome back. I'm so glad you all could come and join me here again. So, what has been going on today? Why is this been such an intense day? So, yesterday I spent all day with my partner clearing out very deep past life blocks to expressing soul purpose. I think I actually cleared a past life going back about 75 lifetimes back. And it was a huge block around expressing my truth. And I don't know if you can relate, having feelings as though when you go out there to try and share your gifts with the world, you almost feel like you're facing some kind of wall or obstacle course or challenge. And so today I woke up with the strangest feeling. I was like, something's off in the field. Like, what is it? I was like, I couldn't feel better. And then about an hour before our call, it got really smoky. It got so smoky that I couldn't do my screening where so I had to travel about 30 minutes south to another location and yeah, I went to one location and it was closed. It was like every obstacle you could think of came up for me to be here today. And I just thought that must mean that whatever we're going to share here today is powerful. And and it is, because what you're learning about today is an astrological system that's based on the actual sky. And so most people follow astrology, they think it's accurate. Tropical astrology is based on where the stars were 2,000 years ago. It is not based on the star patterns at all. It doesn't tune into the stars at all. It is based on a point in space. It's based on where the stars were 2,000 years ago, but because of precession, they've all moved. So, what we're going to be studying today, the astrological map, is based on the actual stars in the sky right now today if you had a telescope. So, we're actually going to tune into the frequency of the stars. And I don't know about you, but I kind of love those stars, right? I kind of love those twinkling, beautiful stars. And I think it's important that we actually follow them. So I'm going to share screen. I'm so happy y'all are here. It cut off at such an awkward moment in my story. And so I really thank you for letting me continue my story here. And I was telling you all how life started out for me very easily, just beautiful, bright, shiny light, just happy, loving my family, playing outside in nature. But because my dad had alcoholism and my home life was just so traumatic and dramatic, by the time I became a teenager, I was very rebellious. I was hiding a lot of pain. I don't know if any of you can relate to having been a teenager and you were kind of dealing with internal pain that you didn't know how to cope with. And so what did I do? I went to college. I went to college to get a degree in psychology because I thought that if I could heal myself, that I would be happy. If I got a psychology degree, everything would be okay, right? And I don't know how many of you can relate to the thought that if I get a degree, I'm going to feel better. That'll solve all of my problems. So I got my bachelor's degree and here I am graduating. And sadly, right, exactly, Kate's like me too. As I got my degree, I realized, geez, I still have got these major issues. And so here I was, it was the summer after graduating from college, and I was so miserable. In fact, the day I graduated from college, I was hungover. Psychology degree did not solve the problem. And here I was depressed, unhappy. And you might go, that doesn't look like Lotus, right? Like, who is that? Yeah. So I was not happy. This was me back in my early 20s, right after graduating from college, and I was miserable. I was so unhappy. And so I went and I got a nanny job, taking care of children. And I remember just being so depressed one day. I didn't have a car at the time. I was living in San Jose, which is like this city sort of in a little bit east of the ocean in California, and I was so hot that literally, like, I had short curly hair, but literally all the curl had gone out of my hair. Like, I was just so depressed. And how many of you can relate to a time in your life where you were just like hitting rock bottom? You didn't know what to do, you didn't know where to go. It was hard. It was really stinking hard. And I just remember sitting there wallowing in it. I just wallowing. It just like I couldn't get out of it. And you know how many people have been in that place where you just can't get, it's just, you're just stuck in this muddle. And all of a sudden, I friggin' had a light bulb moment. Woo! Went on the light bulb. And I remembered I know how to read astrology charts because my mom had taught me at age 10 how to do astrology. And so I'd grown up knowing it. And I said, "Oh, I have an astrology chart. I And I said, why don't I go home and get on the computer and look up what my life purpose is? Why don't I look at my chart and try and figure out who I am and what I'm here for?" Because I was so unhappy. And I thought maybe if I can figure out who I am and what my purpose is, then I will really know what to do. And so if you look at my chart today, you'll see that there's something with this upright headphones. Yeah. And it's right next to my son, right there. They're hanging out. They're hanging out. And this is something called the destiny point. And so I'm at home and I'm surfing on the computer and I type in life purpose and it says north node of the moon. And I was like, what the heck is that? I didn't know what that was. And it said, figure out your life purpose. And I went, really? And so I looked it up and it said that there's also something called a past life point, which is directly opposite. And it's the opposite form of the headphones. Okay. So south node here, north node here. And I looked it up and it says that the north node is all about our purpose and what we're here to do. And our south node is our past. And if we follow the energy of that energy right there, the past, we'll be so unhappy. We'll be just miserable. And so I took that information. At that time, I was using pure sidereal. And so at that time, my destiny point was full on in Aries, and my south node was in Libra. And so my destiny was to become an independent individual, doing what I loved, not focusing too much on relationships or other people, but following my own intrinsic path. What was I doing? I was living with a boyfriend. I didn't really have much of a focus for myself. And I wasn't pursuing what I knew was right for me because I didn't know. I was out of touch with myself. I was so focused on relationships. So I was following my south node, which at that time was in Libra. I was following relationship and losing myself, and I was so unhappy. And so what I learned was that if we follow the south node of our chart, which is our comfort zone, it's our strongest muscle, it's what we're really, really good at, we will be so unhappy because we won't be growing. And I know this from personal experience because I was doing it and I got to witness it. Okay. And so what my North Node destiny point encouraged me to do was to go out, be independent, pursue my hobbies, get in touch with who I am. Because the statement for Aries destiny point is I am. I am. And so I took rapid and immediate action. I I'd always loved yoga, so I went out and I went to a yoga class. First class I took, I bawled. I was just bawling on the mat because I had finally come back to myself after years. And I'm just bawling. I'm just crying my eyes out like I'd forgotten where I was. I'd forgotten I existed. I didn't know where I'd been. I'm like, whoa, I'm back. I bought a car. I got a phone call a week later from for a job opportunity living in a beautiful area. I I broke up with the boyfriend. I moved to the new house. I got this new car. I got a new job within a week of finding all of this out, asking myself, where is my life going? What is my purpose? Boom. I had started doing yoga. I got a new car. I was just expanded within 3 weeks just because I remembered that I knew about astrology and I looked up my destiny point. That changed my life. Like, I don't think I've ever been the same since that moment because it was like I had taken back control of my life. I'd taken back the power of who I am and where I'm going and why I'm friggin' here. And so when I thought about what is my purpose and why am I here, I've realized part of it is to work with you all on looking at your purpose and where is your destiny point and what does that mean for you to really inspire you from my own firsthand experience that when we choose the North Node, when we choose the destiny point, we win. We win. We win big, and it can be challenging and it can be scary, but we win. So thank you all for hearing my story, for joining me on this journey. It really helps, I think, to share and show the power of the destiny point, okay? And the power of knowing our purpose and knowing, are we on track with it, right? Because I wasn't on track and I didn't know that. I was just doing what was comfortable. I was doing what was habitual. I was doing what felt like I was good at, but it wasn't what was fulfilling me on a soul level. Yeah. Any questions or comments here? I feel like I felt like a thought or a share or something. If not, that's okay. I just felt like I felt and Odile, you're in a hot tub, it looks like. So
I wasn't sure we would get back on, so I have to say, seize the day.
yes,
I said she may catch me naked, but hey, no, I got my bathing suit on. I'll get out discreetly when I'm done, but it's part of my therapy. I was running around all day, so I was
yes.
like looking forward to coming home and chillax, but listen to you.
Oh,
I'm
beautiful.
taking it all in.
I love
Beautiful story.
it. If I could invite everyone to sit in a hot tub whilst I shared stories, I would.
See, and I'm doing my water and my grounding in my element.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Odile, you have a huge amount of Pisces in your chart. It's
There you go.
incredible. The water sign energy. You definitely have the mermaid vibe.
See, I came into my little cocoon.
I love it. I love it. Kate, did you want to share?
Awesome.
Yeah, welcome. Glad you're here. Hey, Kate. Yay.
Yeah, I just, it might not be the right time for this part of the story, but I'm interested in the shift that you had,
Yes.
what system you changed to when you discovered that it
Okay.
wasn't Libra
Oh,
Aries.
thank you for asking, Kate. And Kate does
Yeah.
astrology as well. So she's like, so yeah, so what's the difference? So sidereal astrology is the actual location of the stars. It's what's actually up in the sky. And I've followed that since I was about 10 years old. And that's what I was following when I did that chart, maybe when I was 23 years old. Okay. However, in January of 2022, everything changed for me because I learned about a couple things that are actually different that you can refine to the sidereal system to make it even more accurate. And so what I learned, let's get to the right chart here, is that one, all of the constellations in the sky are different sizes. And I didn't know that. I thought, most tropical charts are set up where each house of the chart is 30 days long. And so I thought that every sign, it takes the sun 30 days to go through. And what did I find out? I found out in January 2022, just blew my mind wide open, is that every constellation is a different size. It's a different size. And so it takes the sun a different amount of time to move through each one. And so when I found that out, I realized that that would change where all the signs and planets are in our charts. And I went, oh my God, that could change everything with my chart, right? That could change what signs my planets are in, what sign my sun sign is in. And to add to that, I also learned that there's a 13th sign known as Ophiuchus. And Ophiuchus is like one of the coolest energies I've ever come across. I didn't know there was a 13th sign, but NASA released this about 6 years ago. People in mainstream astrology, they kind of, you know, they kind of say it's not a real thing. But if you look at the stars, you will see that Ophiuchus is sitting and is huge right between Scorpio and Sagittarius. And so I thought, I want to have the ability to create an astrological chart that shows the uneven houses, right? The actual sizes of the constellation. And I want to see Ophiuchus. I want to see Ophiuchus included. I want to know, do I have any planets in Ophiuchus? And so once I did that, Kate, I came across the software that I now use for teaching and sharing called Prometheus. Great, great stuff. And I came across my chart. Aloha, everyone, hold on a second. And welcome to part 2. Thank you for your patience. Oh, so embarrassing. But YouTube will just start playing your video when you're recording. It's so bizarre. So here we go. I go back to my chart. So what happened, Kate, is that I redid my chart in 2022. And so that's the chart that you're seeing here. And so what happened is that my north node and my south node changed signs. Okay, they changed signs. And that was maybe the biggest shift in my astrology chart I'd had in like 15 years. And so my north node went from being in Aries, which is about that taking action and leadership and courage and independence, and it went back into Pisces. Whereas my south node stayed and went back into Virgo. And so what happened, I literally cried on the couch when I found this out, because when I thought my destiny point was in Aries, I felt like I had to constantly be going out there and taking action and you know, doing stuff and sort of being like this like courageous warrior fighting the cause. And of course my sun is still in Aries, so I still feel that way. Um but my destiny point is about learning to embrace the water and learning to embrace the flow and learning how to go with the flow and learning how to show up when things aren't perfect. Yeah, and so I love having Odile here in her hot tub. So I'm like, that's my soul path, Odile. You're just like showing up with the hot tub, like all's good, all's gravy. Um, and I think the biggest lesson, Kate, for me with the destiny point in Pisces and with the south node in Virgo, here's the big lesson. If your destiny point is in Pisces and your south node is in Virgo, here's the lesson. You're coming from past lives, Virgo, of perfectionism. You're coming from having to be perfect, having to be a doctor, a nurse, a healer, someone who's always fixing and helping. And you're instead coming into Piscean energy, all about the spiritual path, right? All about going with the flow, taking that vacation, enjoying the beauty of nature, enjoying the art of life. And so it was really hard the first year because my Virgo tendencies of perfectionism were so deep and ingrained. And I would have my partner say things to me like, you don't have to be perfect all the time. And I was like, oh my God, he knows. How does he know? Like, it's amazing. And he's actually a Pisces, right conjunct my North Node. And so he's always teaching me lessons like all the time. You know, I'll be like striving and trying to make it perfect. And then it's like, and it's in my partnership house. So I'm learning to go with the flow in relationships. Okay. I'm learning how to trust the divine spirit and spark. So I'm learning how to trust like today, like it did not go as planned. It did not go as planned. And I'm learning how to surrender to it and just be present with what is. So does that answer your question, Kate? Well, what do you think about that?
Well, that's interesting because when I shared with you when I found about the true sky astrology, it was the North Node shift for me that's made such a big difference too.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, there's been a whole lot of tweaks. There's a big lot of tweaks because I was in tropical land, so like completely off.
Right. What was your
Um,
what was your North Node before?
in Sagittarius, no, sorry, it's South Node Sagittarius and
Uh-huh.
North Node in Gemini. So I
Okay.
had that really frenetic energy where I had to get
Right.
out there and tell people and socialize and network, and then it came back and it was in Taurus, and I, like you, just went, oh, I can take my time and let things evolve. Taurus just takes its good old time.
Right. Right.
Lotus,
Yes.
do,
Yeah.
do
Odile, go ahead.
Kate and I have the exact same North Node.
You do. Do you have
Hey,
your North Node in Taurus? You do. Oh, how beautiful. Okay.
And also, I thought I was in the communications and Gemini in the third, and
Uh-huh.
now it's Taurus in the second, which I felt a guilty pleasure, but I love it. I'm embracing it. No shame anymore. Say, hey,
Love
my
that.
son says, Ma, do you have a good life? I go, that's what I meant to do. And he's the Ophiuchus, past
Oh,
life,
right.
the present life, and that's my past. And
Right.
so is Kate.
Oh my gosh. Well, here's the perfect time for us to jump in and have a look at it, which is so much fun. I thought we'd have
Awesome.
fun starting with the destiny point because, ladies and gentlemen out there, this changed my life. When I first discovered this, it completely changed my life. And now Kate and Odile are saying that it changed their life as well, knowing their new True the Stars destiny point. This is big. This is so big. Okay. And so beautiful Kate, my goodness, her destiny point. And if you're not familiar with charts, it's okay. Just take a deep breath and don't try and jump ahead. But up on the top half of the chart is our outer expression. It's how we shine. It's our gifts to the world. So when I see the MC, this is the high point of the chart, and this represents one of our purpose points. It's part of how we really shine our gifts out to the world. And for Kate to have her destiny point right here next to her midheaven, well, I'm glad you're here because, my guidance to you is you got to get out there, sister. I mean, midheaven is about shining your gifts to the world. And in Taurus, those gifts might be very beautiful because Taurus is beauty, right? Oh, is it still frozen, Odile? It's okay now? Yeah. Well, going with the flow here. Going with the in and out. All right. So,
Can we see the chart? Can we see the chart when if we're visual, it helps.
oh, it's
Kate,
not showing.
You don't mind?
What are you guys, what were you seeing?
I am seeing everybody's tile picture. Okay,
Okay.
now we can see it. Yeah,
Okay.
good.
Yeah. I'm like
Yeah,
having
so
a party over here without you.
yeah,
Sorry about.
okay. Well, I could see the chart before, so
Okay.
I don't know what's going on today.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
we could go into that a little bit more, but
no,
one of
no.
it is that supposedly we're in the last degrees of Pisces. And when you have a planet in the last degrees of Pisces, it says it can create the feeling of drowning. So it can almost like cause a loss of control or a loss of like being able to do anything. It's just kind of like you have to surrender, right? And people who talk about the water or the ocean say you don't fight the current. You do not fight the current. You want to go with the flow to stay above water. And so I would just invite everyone, if you're having a weird day or wonky day or things are just kind of out of control, to just let go as much as you can and surrender. Get into the hot tub. Put on a fantasy movie. I love watching fantasy movies when we have high Piscean energy because Piscean energy is imagination and dreams and fantasy. So it's a very, very powerful time for getting into that frequency of our
Mm,
imaginations and our dreams. And
mm.
so, yeah, so here we are. Here we are into the chart. And I have to warn you, let's see where we're at here. We have a little bit of battery power left. I'm going to put this out there to my YouTube community. I need to buy an external battery because I broadcast from nature. That's where I broadcast. I love to be out in nature. I love to have that energy come through the video, but I need to buy an external battery so that my computer doesn't die. So if anyone would like to donate or anyone would like to submit a suggestion for a really good external battery source for my computer, please leave a comment because I've decided today I'm no longer going to let that get in the way of my broadcasting. Like, what do I need to make a perfectly mobile studio so that I can be out here live with you all talking about charts in nature whenever I want to? So put that out to the universe and we'll see what comes back. But one way or the other, I've got to get an external battery so I can just broadcast. There won't be needing to go charge. It's just I'm done. It's time to get my studio activated. So coming back to your chart, Kate, I've been here for a moment. You went from a Gemini destiny point to Taurus. You went from air to earth. You also went from a past life point from fire, Sagittarius, into Scorpio. Is that right? Yeah, okay. So what have you noticed after this shift? Like, what were some of your big takeaways from this shift?
Well, the Scorpio part's interesting because my sun is down there, and my sun was 28 degrees Scorpio when I was reading a tropical chart. But I always felt like I was done with Scorpio. You know what I mean? Like I know it inside out, but it's not, it wasn't the best way for me to operate. And then, so now when it goes to my South Node, that's just really clear to me that that's right. That's exactly right. And that is how I felt, right? But yeah, so to move away from, like you say, the chaos, the intensity of Scorpio. Yes, it's great to be passionate about things, but how to do that without making a great big drama about it, right? Especially in my family, right? I'm the drama queen,
Oh,
and it's never served me well. It doesn't do any good throwing a tantrum, you know.
And
So
that's probably that past life pattern of needing to make drama in the family, or there being drama in the family. And maybe,
yeah,
what I've noticed with families is sometimes we start expressing things that aren't even ours, that are just like in the family lineage, that we are so sensitive that we start acting it out. Like we become the ones because we're the intuitive empaths who feel the energy in the collective of our family. And then we start like acting it out. And we're like, this is not even me. What is this? And so I could see that happening with you. And I love that you felt like you were done with Scorpio because you are, right? Like you've been there, done that like 9 times since Sunday. Um, Are there any things with Taurus that you've started to embrace more after it shifted from Gemini?
well, that feeling of being earthed and how important that is. But I was just thinking I really need to do some more study on Taurus because it was empty. Like, you see how Aries up there is empty?
Right.
That's how my Taurus looked, right? So for all these years, I thought I had nothing in Taurus. And
Right.
now look at this chart, and I've got everything that's the most important stuff in Taurus, right? All about what you are teaching today. Yeah, because Polaris is up there. Um, Regal, he's there as well. It's
Yes.
Puanga. That's Puanga here for our Matariki. So Puanga is going to be rising on our skies in our Maori New Year. That's the Puanga star, right? Point.
Right.
And there it is at the top of my chart in my house of career. And I never thought I had a career. I had no interest in having a career all my life, except in my 20s, I did say I wouldn't do my career till I was in my 50s.
Interesting. New.
58, going to be 59 this year. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I do have a career. Maybe it's in astrology.
It seems that way. And it feels like you really also embody nature energy really powerfully, and Taurus is the earth. It's like the earth goddess, right? So you're saying I want to know more about Taurus. I mean, here's an image for you. Okay. So Taurus, I always think of Taurus as the lush green river valley that's just bursting with flowers and plants. And you go out and you pick berries, you're barefoot, you're maybe wearing a beautiful dress, your hair is down. Maybe there's beautiful music. Maybe there's like someone playing in a flute and some drums, and it's just like beautiful music. And the flowers are fragrant. You can smell the flowers and you're eating berries and ripe fruit and you have a basket, right, with just abundance. And you go home and maybe make a chocolate cake and you have dinner and you give each other massages. And it's like Taurus is the enjoyment of all the five senses. It's the enjoyment, the dolce vita of life. It's like, really, like, why are we here? Are we here to just walk around and like get through life? Or are we here to enjoy the flowers and the plants and delicious food and beauty, like going shopping for beautiful fabrics and clothes and crystals and gemstones, right? That's
Yeah,
Taurus.
yeah.
And you're laughing. Tell us why you're laughing. We got to hear it. What triggered that for you?
Well, I love going shopping for beautiful fabrics. I just bought myself a crystal. Um, and I work 3 days a week in the most beautiful shop. It's a museum shop for the Hundertwasser in Whangarei. So Hundertwasser was a famous artist who just wanted to uplift everybody with beauty and happiness.
Uh-huh.
And and all day for those 3 days, I get to be in this beautiful shop talking to people about uplifting them, and about looking after the earth, right? Because he was an ecologist.
Sounds like you're kind of on track a little bit here. So way to go. I mean, that's amazing, and maybe what I'm hearing is to affirm that more. Like, gosh, I'm really starting to fulfill my purpose. Like I'm really starting to follow my destiny. And some kind of advice is like, how can you do it a little more? Right? How you can bring a little bit more of that and kind of juice it up. And then right? And then it's like if you want to add that to your astrology business, right? Maybe you would make like a physical product. Like I have a dear friend who I met her because she was advertising crystal bracelets and jewelry for astrology signs, right? And so she would do people's astrology charts and then she would make them a necklace or a bracelet or something. And I just see like with you and that Taurus, I want you to imagine tangible, touchable, tasteable, feelable. Five senses. Yeah. That's your happy place. You're grounded, secure, safe. Okay. And that's like your focus point. That's like the growth zone. You can use your depth and your intensity from Scorpio. You can penetrate through the soul veil and see people's, truth and then bring that through and then ground them. I see you as helping to ground people kind of just in the body, in the being, in the what do they really love, right? Taurus is what you love. Taurus is what you love. Does that kind of give some perspective for you around how to bring this love of astrology into your purpose more? Like bring in something tangible, touchable, tasteable. And even if you have objects, like as you're doing readings that you pick up and you talk about and you use the physical universe, I think that's going to be really powerful for you. And you're in such a beautiful place. You're in New Zealand. I mean, oh my God, April is literally gonna just burst with excitement because April's biggest dream, at least one of them, is to go to the Hobbit villages in New Zealand. So maybe there will be a possibility.
Yeah, come up to Whangarei and visit.
Yes, there we go.
This picture, this is one of my local beaches.
Oh, it's so pretty.
It's just divine. And you can see the dragon head up and behind me. That's the Whangarei heads. Just that little touch
Wow.
of mountains in the sea,
It
right?
looks like a dragon.
Yeah, it is a dragon. So,
Wow. Well, some people call the destiny point the dragon.
wow.
What if okay, so one thing about Taurus is that it's very physical, it's very much embodiment. What if you led some type of astrology retreat, and invite people to your country, like create a beautiful space for them, beautiful drinks and food and take them out to see the stars at night and to the ocean. I mean, I think I have two women on this call right now who would jump at that opportunity.
Yeah.
So, so I can see their eyes are glazing over. They're just like, that sounds so nice. So just something to think about. Maybe you could, with a smaller group and just, we're gonna tonight, Saturday night, we're going to um, go view these stars. We're gonna have a dinner. I had a birthday party a couple years back. We had some chocolate cake. We started talking about astrology. So it was like a tea. It was like an astrology tea. And so we had cake and snacks and tea, and we talked about astrology, and it was beautiful out in nature with flowers, and it just felt so nourishing, right? So just some ideas for you with all that Taurian energy near the midheaven. And I have some decent Taurus energy up there too, so it would make sense that I'd be able to give you these ideas, having done them a bit myself. So, um, and I also want to point out, because I was thinking about, how you're so drawn to the stars and teaching, how you have Aries up on the ninth house, which is the teaching house. It's the higher knowledge house. It's the star house in a way, right? Because it's ruled by Sagittarius, which loves to shoot its arrow towards the stars. And you have Mars in Sagittarius. How amazing is that? And so you love the stars, and it's one of your hobbies, right? Fifth house is hobbies, what you love. Conjunct Venus, which is the billionaire planet. So that could be why you're like, I'm drawn to teaching astrology, right? That could be why, because of that ninth house with Mars ruling it in Sagittarius, conjunct Venus, your billionaire planet. And I just think that's just so amazing. And it's also, though, it's also square your destiny point. And so there's a bit of a conversation that needs to happen between your Mars energy, your action energy, and your destiny point, which is earthing and grounding and stable. It's like between earth and fire, you get into a little bit of this, like, well, I want to move fast and furious, says your Mars in Sagittarius. And then your destiny point in midheaven are like, well, we're going to be stable and secure and move slow and steady and be careful. And so you might be having a little bit of a foot on the brake and foot on the gas, foot on the brake, foot on the gas. Like, I want to go forwards. I want to teach that Mars energy. And then the North Node saying, well, can we do it in a grounded, safe way, please? Right? Can we make this safe? But here's the good news for taking action is that literally tomorrow, Mars will be 0 degrees of Aries in your ninth house of teaching. Okay. So what do you need to do to take an action step tomorrow? And what would it be? What would it be?
Wow. Well, I've actually got a lot on tomorrow already. But yes, I've definitely been feeling like now is not the right time. And when you said Mars is in Pisces, I was thinking, yeah, it's not. And I've been around the clock enough now to know that when it feels right, I will take action. And so I don't beat myself up quite so much anymore. And I
That's
go,
right.
when the time is right, the energy will be there and I will do it.
Yeah,
So
you're just gonna wake up tomorrow and probably feel a little more. Oh, it's so interesting because Mars will be directly opposite your sun moon midpoint down here in the third house. So
oh,
your social media presence, like communication, networking energy, and then your higher knowledge, education energy are going to be in this polarity, which could create a lot of momentum.
oh great.
Here
Hey, well,
you are.
I need your help to choose what program I'm going to use for doing charts now.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have a chat. Let's dive into this a little more fully. And I'm really playing around with wanting to create some type of a group or program for my astrology goddesses, because there's so many beautiful astrology goddesses I work with, and I've been wanting to create some type of a container. And I haven't been exactly sure what y'all would like the most. I'm thinking something around 1 to 4 times a month. So either once a week or once a month, where we would meet in an intimate container, go into the charts, and also do healing work around any challenges that are coming up for each of the members. So I'll share more about that over the next 5 days, but I'm really wanting to create a container that's very intimate, that's very nourishing and nurturing for women on their purpose, for women walking towards their purpose, for women who just need a little bit more support and a little bit more affirmation and a little bit more like, yes, you can do this, and affirming it with your chart, and then clearing the blocks and just going through and being in that container together. So I'm going to keep working on this idea. I've decided to get off my linear mind map, which has been like, you have to do it this set way and it has to look like this. I'm like, no, what do I really want to provide for you all? It's going to be something very beautiful and very flowing, because we're women. And so we need a different type of support, and we do things differently. And it's been such an interesting discovery to learn how to be a woman in business and maintain femininity and maintain that intuitive flow. I mean, like deadlines, like what is that? Like we go by our own rhythm here. We have our own rhythm. So it's just very interesting. I'm sure, April, you are going through that all the time as well. Like, how do I be a beautiful goddess and also make deadlines happen and get things done and be supported, right? We need that support for our estrogen. Like we come together, it builds our estrogen. It's amazing. Like it's a party. So cool. So cool. So yeah, let's talk more about that, Kate. And let's see here. See. Until I get my external battery hooked up properly, I had to go somewhere else. So right now we have a little bit time left. Who wants me to fit you in before tomorrow? And then tomorrow I'll have a much easier time, I think. And we'll be able to, oh gosh, you know what? I may have to call it for today.
They're going, gone.
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna call it before I get jumped off again for the second time, and who knows how long. But I'm so glad you're here. And tomorrow, and Kate, I'm so glad we got your chart looked at, because I know this was the only day you could come live. So
Yeah.
phew,
Okay.
phew.
Lovely to meet you all. And I
Yes,
will watch the recordings and catch up. I really want to see your other charts. I just
I
want to
know,
see the other
right?
charts now.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, once you're into astrology, it's like, ooh, I want to learn more, right? I want to, and these beautiful ladies have amazing charts. So this is going to be so much fun. We're going to keep dialing in the destiny points tomorrow. So if you're out there and you're like, I want to know about my destiny point, I want to know what mine is. I will leave a link for you to sign up so you can join us tomorrow. And we're going to tomorrow, I think we're just going to have a destiny day and just dive into the destiny point, dive into how powerful it is, see where you have it. And the other thing, Kate, that's really interesting is that your destiny point in Taurus is ruled by Venus. And so what does that mean? It means that it's in Sagittarius conjuncture Mars, which is the ruler of the ninth house. Okay, so there's a connection between your destiny and teaching and your higher, traveling. Maybe traveling to retreat centers, right? Maybe being a teacher who travels the world, right? A leader. You're meant to be a leader, okay, with Aries on the ninth house. And I can tell you as one that that's not an easy place. It's not. Like it takes this charging through boundaries type of energy. And if you look at the ram, it has horns, right? And that's for pushing through the obstacles. But your midheaven's also in Taurus. So you're like kind of this interesting balance between pushing through obstacles and then enjoying the dolce vita of life and the beauty of life. So you kind of get to bring both of those energies in with how you go out in the world and express yourself. And so it's the masculine and the feminine. right? It's the external and the internal. And so you kind of provide a balanced view, which is great. I mean, that's nice for your astrology students, right? They'll get to have both that strong fire and that grounding earth as you work and you give your gifts out to the world. So cool. So cool. So leave any questions in the 5-day challenge group or anything that you really want to see over the next 4 days. We started it. I'm so glad you're here. We have a beautiful participant in her hot tub. That is so cool. We've got April with the full moon in the background because that is coming, my friends. That is coming June 23rd, right around the friggin' solstice. You like, are you really like full moon and solstice together this year? Like, full expression. That's where we're headed. That's where we're headed. So, I love you ladies. You're all so beautiful. Please keep shining, keep being the beautiful gifts that you are. Please keep speaking and sharing your truth. We've had to walk a long road to get to where we are and to share our gifts with the world. And so please keep shining your light. Please keep speaking the truth because that is what we're here for. We're here to light up the night and bring light and love back to this earth at the level and the vibrancy that is possible. And that's a lot. Okay, so I truly love and appreciate you all, and I hope you have a fabulous night. And if you have any questions, leave them in the chat. And yeah, do you have one, Odalie? Odile?
Yeah, just are we on the same time tomorrow?
Same time tomorrow. Yeah, and it should be like way more grounded.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if I may be with a friend
Okay.
who's studied Vedic astrology. We're supposed to
Yeah.
have a dinner tomorrow,
Oh,
so I
cool.
may tell her come and see how similar the
Yeah,
planets align on the same things. I'm sure she'd love to join.
it's really
Otherwise,
cool.
I'll join you either on the replay or
Sure,
I'll chat
sure.
to you. I don't know if I can come in when you're in the middle.
Whenever. Yeah, you just jump on and I love Vedic astrology. It's so interesting. And Rigel is I learned that from my Vedic astrology teacher and Rigel is the friggin' is a fixed star that all the billionaires have in their chart. So we're gonna definitely look at that. I know April's like, "Oh my God." And of course, our beautiful friend here, Kate, has it very nicely placed in her 10th house. So time to
Awesome.
make some money. Time to make some money, my sisters. All right. I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow.
Love
Bye.
you.
Love you. Love you.
Bye.